Hello there. Yeah, I decide whenever I come in and I have to go someplace, I decide like, well, I might as well get on here and talk to people because I have, not many people to talk to. I'm a lonely, lonely dude, and that way I'm not assaulting you with my fish belly white flesh, and it's not comfortable for me particularly, but I've already had to endure it for a few hours now, so a few more minutes won't matter. But anyway, I was thinking about the long story long and the make a long story short. It's like that's not how you tell a story. You tell a story with all the salient details in there that make it a story. You got to have a context for why things happen, and without it, what do you got? What if I just said the word to you, flabbergasted, right now? Like you'd be like, it's meaningless, or like this guy's name was Anthony. It's meaningless. You got to have the whole deal. You don't have to have every detail like what Anthony's hat is or anything like that, but you got to have like the whole deal to understand the story. So, anyways, um, here's my last couple days. I had my knee procedure, which proved disastrous on the 7th. So today was my knee appointment where they were going to follow up, and I just assumed talk to me about what was done to my knee. So let's see if I can include all the bullshit that went on the last couple of days. So I call on the 14th to arrange the scenic view transportation for crippled people because it's the best crippled people transportation around because they treat you just like you are, a friend. And I'm not talking about friendly conversation. I'm talking about they get you there on time. They don't get you there an hour early, and they pick you up, and sometimes they actually will wait if it's a short appointment, and you just walk out to the car and get in the car with them and go home. No other service is like that. None. But I have to have a backup plan. So my backup plan is Sarda Proline, which is a fucking horrible service. So, just in case things don't work out for whatever reason. So I call my case manager on the 14th because she has to arrange the scenic view transportation. I can't do it myself. It has to be arranged through the case manager. Um, she's going on vacation on the 15th, and I think that she went on vacation a day fucking early because when I called to verify my trip for today, yesterday, they were like, "Oh yeah, we got you. We got you, Steve. You're 8 o'clock, Altman Hospital." And I'm like, "I'm not going to Altman Hospital." They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to an orthopedic surgeon." And I gave them the address. And they were like, that's a problem. It's like, we can't just like change uh, the trip without talking to your care source manager. I'm like, well, my care source manager is on vacation as of today. Or, they're actually, whoa, actually, Jesus on vacation. So they're like, well, you can call your covering um, case manager. They have somebody that will cover her that'll deal with your case. And he made it sound like it was easy. So, I call my insurance provider. I get Katie, the automatic bit. I hate that whole automated thing because when it doesn't work, it really doesn't work. It's like, hi, my name is Katie. I can understand complete sentences. But you can't understand the word covering for before case manager because I said I would like to speak to my covering case manager. Try number one. Covering case manager. Try number two. Covering case manager. I just give up. She just keeps referring me to my case manager, her message machine, saying that she's on vacation. So I'm like, I got to talk to a live person. So I call and I get a live person, and a live person just refers me back to Katie. Hi, my name is Katie. I understand complete sentences, except for that one fucking word that confuses me. So, uh, okay, I'm like, well, I'll try another angle. So I finally get a hold of a dude, just like calling random numbers that actually is trying to do something for me. This guy's name is Eric, And he's like, well, we can try this angle, we can try that angle. He's like, but you're going to have to hold for a little bit. And I'm like, well, I've already been on the phone for a while. It's no big deal. So, no, I hadn't slept the night before because it just, I haven't been sleeping. So I'm like, this is like the last thing that I need is like a snag for my already stressful appointment the next day. So Eric is trying his ass off, though. I got to give old Eric credit. But he's like, well, I tried to get your covering case manager, and the way you do that is you call your normal case manager, and then you put in the number 0. But I'm not getting any answer from her at all, and I don't know who she is, or there's just nothing there. It just rings. I'm like, okay. And he's like, but I can call these other people, and they might be able to assist you if you have, if you hold. I'm like, I hold, and he's like, I got like 4 or 5 guys I can call. So like about the third guy, I'm like, look, Eric, some things just ain't meant to be. I'm like, you've been very helpful and you've been very nice. You've done your best. I was like, I just have to go with my backup plan. So my backup plan is SARTA Proline, which is, you have your city buses and then you have these Proline buses if you're crippled up bad enough that you can get with a, they give you curbside service supposedly, go to your house because you can't walk to the bus stop. You also don't have to ride the bus with a bunch of people, no more than 1 or 2, or sometimes you're by yourself. But so in that way, it's superior. But in another way, it's inferior because they have pickup windows. And the pickup window for today, because my appointment was for 8 o'clock in the morning, it's the first appointment of the day. So I'm thinking, okay, this should work out okay in my favor. It's set up pretty good because the pickup window is between 6:50 and 7:20. You don't know when you use this Proline cripple bus whether they're going to pick up more cripples on the way there, or where like one time they picked up somebody in dialysis that was still in dialysis and hooked up to the machines, which made me late for my appointment. So, you don't want to be late for your appointment because at the place I go to currently with this orthopedic stuff, they will give you a $25 penalty for showing up late. And besides that, you want to get in and out of there as soon as possible. Now, uh, so the lady gets there like 2 minutes. She got there about, I imagine, 6:45 for an 8 o'clock appointment. That's 5 minutes down the road. So, I'm like, damn it. It's like, ah, I'm gonna be early. I'm just gonna be sitting there in the lobby. And I'm never pessimistic enough. It's like with the knee surgery. Yeah, this Baker's cyst is just gonna come back. And it already burst, not like a blood clot formed in its place. But I was pessimistic. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be there early. I'm just gonna be sitting there in a lobby now. It's like, I asked her, I already knew the answer somehow, but I asked her, I was like, are we going to be picking up anybody else? So I can be sitting in the bus longer. And she's like, nope, you're my only stop. You're the first guy of the day. So I get there. It's 21 degrees outside. I am not dressed for 21-degree weather. I look out and I can see that the place is not open. There's nobody in the place. The doors are locked. The lights are out. And I tell the bus driver lady, I'm like, the doors are locked. There's like, I don't think I can get in there. And she goes, well, I guess you should have scheduled your appointment at a different time. You scheduled it too early. Now, sometimes when you get that pickup window, they don't show up till 7:30, or they'll show up at 7:20, and then that would work out fine. But you just don't know. They show up early, they show up late, they show up at any old time. But she's actually ribbing me and throwing my crippled ass out in the cold. I wonder if she'd do that with somebody with a wheelchair. But I got no place to go. I'm just dumped off in this strange place, and it's 21 degrees outside. It's still dark. I can't hardly walk, and I got a cane, and there ain't no place to sit. And I'm like, fuck, you know. So I'm like, she was like, I got to pick up this other lady, man. She's got to get to work. She was like totally unsympathetic. She's like, good luck with that. So I'm like, I look across the street and I see some steps, and I'm like, I go sit on them steps across the street. That's a long damn walk for me, though, man. My legs already hurt and already did some moving around and stuff. I already used up most of my leg, but I got to be able to sit somewhere. I can't be sitting on these rocks. There's just like a few rocks and some real low curbs out in front of the building. And I'm like, nah, they might have a dog or something, or, porch light might come on. It's like, just not a good policy. I'm like, I see these other steps, and I'm like, ugh, those are like too far away, and I got to walk down a hill. I'm going to die before I make it to them steps. So I start walking around the building, and I walk all the way around to the back of the building, and I find the employees' entrance. There's a super nice picnic table there, but it's got frost all over it. It's 21 degrees. I was just glad the wind wasn't blowing. So I'm like, just sitting there. Like, I am literally 40 to 45 minutes of just freezing my ass off, just sitting there. The employees come, and they're looking at me suspiciously because I'm sitting by their. Maybe they eat lunch there. I don't know, but I'm sitting at. I raise up my cane to let them know that I'm a patient. Just I'm a big guy and it's dark out, ladies, but it's okay. Nobody's gonna do nothing to you. Maybe hit you with this cane, but that's about it. So I'm just sitting out there. So I start texting until my hand gets too cold to hit the numbers anymore. And I'm like, I'm not walking around the front of the building for a while yet because it's just too far of a walk, and I won't be able to walk back to this little picnic bench table. It's just too much walking. I'm just gonna fall on my ass and get hurt. And like, so I waited, and I was like, well, I've seen about 4 or 5 employees go in there now. I bet you those front doors are open now. So I go around from the back of the building, past the employee entrance. Them doors are locked tight as a motherfucker. It's still dark in there. I'm like, fuck. So I just lean up against the building as best I can, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, this is just ridiculous. This is a horrible. How did this even happen? It's like, um, why are the doors not open at 7:30 plus if the first appointment is at 8 o'clock? Doesn't anybody ever arrive early to these appointments? So they don't open the doors until at least 20 till 8 o'clock. And she don't say nothing, because I looking the way I look. I mean, I don't know. There's something about the way I look that's off-putting to people. I don't know what it is, but uh, I walk in there, and they said a sign-in time, and I just put too early for my, or no, arrival time on a thing, and I signed in too early. And people are so insensitive and stupid. It's like I said, just trying to make the best of it. I said, I'm just writing in too early for my arrival time, and she said, yeah, like way too early. I'm like, you saw me out there at the picnic table, sitting on a frozen picnic table, man, freezing, literally freezing my ass off. Yeah, it's like, so I'm like, okay. Now here's the other part to the story is like my pickup window for leaving the place and going back home is like from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. So the odds of me getting in to see a doctor and getting out at 8:30 are ridiculously low. It's not going to happen. And even by 9 o'clock, But so I'm like, Jesus. And then I'm thinking I'm the first appointment of the day. They bring in somebody else and they take care of them first. And I can hear them talking to this person. I'm looking at my phone and it's like 8:17, and I'm like, well, that's 13 minutes away from my first pickup window. If it's a recurrence of this morning, I'm going to be calling a cab and blowing money on cab fare and sitting around and waiting on them. And I'm pessimistic and shit. But what happened was really weird. It's like some guy. This place is. Maybe it's just because I'm poor. You just get this kind of service or whatever. Every time I go in there, I see somebody different. It's just some young dude in scrubs. Anyway, the young dude. The part that I skipped in the story that's also an important detail is the motherfucking people did not have my results from March 17th when I had that procedure and was asking me about it. And he said, well, she's like, yeah, we're getting them off of the computer right now. It's going to take a while. And I'm like, well, that's just going to delay things further and further make me miss my bus home. It's like, that was the 7th. This is the 19th. You don't have the results to my stuff. 12 days. I'm coming in here. And I'm thinking this stuff. But I don't ever say this stuff. But anyways, I can't escape the phone. Okay, that's nothing. Um, I got to wait for this guy to like look at the results of my uh, uh, surgical procedure I had on the 7th. I'm like, there's no way in fucking hell that I'm getting out of here in time to catch the bus. I'm gonna have to blow money on which I don't have on a cab ride home. So it all turned out so weird. So I'm like, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not asking. If the guy gets in here, I'm not saying nothing. I'm not asking any questions. That's just gonna delay the freaking appointment. So this guy comes in. He looks like he's maybe 28, and he's in scrubs. Never seen the guy before. He says, "Can I look at your knee?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he took off my shoe and he messed with my foot a little bit, tested the strength in my leg and stuff. And I saw that guy from between 4 and 6 minutes. So I'm out there freezing my ass off for 45 minutes to see a guy for 4 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating that because I was checking my phone. And by the time I hobbled out to the lobby, it's 8:26. I'm like, I'm gonna make my pickup window. Well, at least that's something. And guess what happens? They show up 15 minutes late past the pickup window. So I'm like, I'm gonna give them till 9:15 because the pickup window is 8:30 to 9. I'm like, I'm gonna give them till 9:15. If they don't show up at 9:15, it's like I'm just gonna call a cab. This is ridiculous, you know. And they parked in the wrong spot where I didn't even see them come. I kept walking outside and getting impatient, and I'm like, I don't want to miss them, because they only give you like 5 minutes, and if you don't catch them, they'll just leave. Obviously, if they'll leave crippled people out in the cold and let them freeze their ass off in the dark, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They get paid either way. So, um, the guy shows up 15 minutes late. So I come out at 8:26 and I'm not on the bus until 9:20. So it's like almost a full hour. I'm like, you got to be shitting me, man. It's like I'm waiting 45 minutes in the cold before I get there. I see the doctor for 4 minutes, and then it's almost a full hour before I'm in the bus and sitting down and ready to go home. And it's like, and then I got to thinking about it. You know, it's like the whole appointment was just another bill padding exercise, which I fucking hate the medical community for this kind of bullshit. You don't need to break the news to me in person that I need knee surgery. I knew that I need knee surgery. So the guy's like, I'm actually telling the guy ahead of time before it comes out of his mouth because he's like trying to gentle me into it or whatever. And I said, yeah, it's going to need operated on. I'm going to need surgery. And he goes like, yeah, yeah, I'm basically doing the appointment for him. It's like, why am I even here? Read the results of the test. Call me at home and say you're going to need knee surgery. I don't need to be here for any of this. I don't need to have this ridiculous, stupid, irritating, freezing morning that I just had. Uh, and they just do that. They do that shit, man, just to pad them, just to make that money, man. To just get whatever measly little crumb they can get. They'll take, man. Whatever they schedule you for these stupid appointments that don't make no sense. It's like I'm actually doing the appointment for the guy and telling him, I know ahead of time. It's like obviously if you can't drain the blood clot's got to be cut out. So I'm going to need surgery. And this guy's like, how's this poor, how is this poor guy going to take it? Oh, will he break down and cry? It's like Jesus Christ, just get the fuck out of here, away from you people. I hate medical. God, oh, I hate the medical community so much. And it's like this whole morning, the stress of worrying about the travel arrangements, the nonsense with the care manager screwing up and then going on vacation. All this is unnecessary. You just look at the results of the test, call me on the phone, and tell me, like, look, you're going to need surgery. I already knew I needed surgery. So, yeah, that wasn't fun. That's not a fun morning. Did not enjoy it. It wasn't, yeah. And then you get home and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Why did all that happen? All that happened just so they can make maybe what, $50 to $100 for an office visit, you know. And I didn't even need to stick around for them to make arrangements for the surgery because it's too complicated. Sometimes they'll have you hang around if they want you to do a medical test. And they'll give you a little writ, that you take into a hospital for a blood test or whatever test they want you to get. But this is surgery they're scheduling, so they're like you just go. This is gonna take a while. So there's no reason at all for me to go through the morning I just had. I'm just and I'm like, what if a guy is in a wheelchair and he does that? Are you gonna like push him out in a wheelchair in the dark and just say, "Look, good luck with that, pal. Have fun with that." You know, hope your catheter bag don't freeze. Hope your urine don't freeze up. That's going back to your day. I'm getting a little bit graphic, but there's people that ride those cripple buses that are in like real bad shape. So yeah, I hope your catheter don't freeze up and you can piss right. I mean, seriously, it was cold this morning, man. 21 degrees. I mean, even for somebody that's in Ohio, if you're not dressed properly for 21 degrees, and I don't. I spend all my time in my prison here, in my little prison cell inside. So I'm not used to no 21 degrees. And yeah, that just freaked me out. I was like, really? You just like you got a cripple bus, and if like you just throw cripples out into the cold, it's like, man, you screwed up, buddy. And it's like, wow, that was really kind of I can't say it wasn't an interesting morning, but Jesus. And oh yeah, I was gonna tell her, we're done with that. I exhausted. I made the long story long, and I got all the details in there that made it interesting and whatnot. I don't believe in making it. I could have told that story a different way. I could. Here's how I could have told that story. My case manager screwed up, and then I had to use the sort of transportation, and they got there too early, and then they got there too late, and I only saw the doctor for 4 minutes, and said I had have knee surgery. They could have done that shit over the phone. That took all of 35 seconds. Ooh, what the fuck fun was that? That's not fun. Anyways, I was going to tell this other story of how I got flim flam. Because I was talking to somebody and they were talking about this other household around here that I visit. And I'm like, I just try to avoid those people at all costs now because every time that I see them, it costs me money. And I told Mason in the comments, I was like, I will tell you a story of that's like, it's just like near perfect of how like I am just a babe in the woods, man. I am just a little innocent child wandering about this earth. I don't even know how this happened, but okay. This guy this guy comes down that owes me 20 bucks, right? He has his 20 bucks and his girlfriend owes me 20 bucks supposedly. But she don't owe me 20 bucks. She just thinks she owes me 20 bucks. Now she's gotten untold amounts of money off me before. And you know, so I'm like, well, if she insists, I'll take the 20 bucks. I mean, whatever, you know. But I don't know if that got back to her or if it didn't get back to her. I could ask this guy about it just to see what he'd say because he knows I don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm worried about being able to walk in wheelchairs and shit. I'm not sweating 20 bucks. So, uh, anyways, while he was giving me, this is a couple days later, she's upstairs talking to people that she knows upstairs. And she calls down and she's like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need anything at the store? And I'm like, not really. I said, But if you got a cigarette, you know, you run a tobacco Jones got me. The tobacco demon got me. So I was like, but if you got a cigarette, man, you can run one down. She goes, no, I just gave my last cigarette I'll name withheld. And I was like, oh, she's like, yeah, that $20 that I gave you the other day, I did owe you that $20, right? And I said, well, actually, I was truthful, only half truthful. I said, actually, you owed me $5 for beer, and you owed me $5 for cigarettes. But I don't think she owed me the $5 for cigarettes. So, but I really thought she did when I said it. But I thought about it later, and I was like, no, I said those were on the house. I said that, yeah, she didn't really owe me that. So, like, I got my $20, right? So I was like, here you go, and I give her the $20 back. You know, I said, you really only owe me that $10 a me. So um, I was like, I want 3 cigarettes. I said, you know how I get. I have an anger thing. So I said, you know how I get, so you better be back here with 3 cigarettes. So she comes back with the 3 cigarettes, and then she leaves and drives off. And I'm looking at the cigarettes, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? These cigarettes cost $7 a piece. Because I had a 20, and now I got 3 cigarettes. And it's like, um, yeah, some people, they're so street, and they can do that kind of shit without even thinking about it, without even trying to do it. I would not be surprised if she had no intention of flim flamming me. But she flim flammed the shit out of me because that was funny. I was looking at them 3 cigarettes. And I'm like, these better be good cigarettes, man. These better have extra poison in them because, yeah, these were $7 a piece or thereabouts. So yeah, that's a good example. It's like, so anyways, her boyfriend, who I've heard bad things about him, but he's been square dealing with me so far. So like I told him like the first time that we have a problem, I was like, I don't really even know you. Like we're history. So he's been square with me. He's actually giving me money back at the pump and stuff. Like he's like, I don't need this much gas money, and like he actually gives money back, which my relatives won't even do. You know, this is an unrelated story, but I actually bought somebody a car, and the first ride I took in the car, somebody else was driving it, and they actually asked me for gas money in a car I paid for on my first time in it. This is the kind of people that I got to deal with. Um, so, anyways, this dude shows up, or he calls me up on the phone, and he's like, "And I don't like to ask, but you got like $5 for cigarettes." And I'm like, "Well, you don't have no transportation because I heard you sold your truck, and then you bought this other car, and you said the transmission just took shit on it." And he's like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna walk." And the guy's got a back. I said, "You're gonna walk all the way down here for a pack of cigarettes with a bad back?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, I'm under stress. He's like, I got to deal with Social Security and I got to have my cigarettes. And I'm like, okay. So the dude walks down here, the guy that gives money back to me and stuff like that. He said, boy, it's a lot colder out than I thought it was. It's just like me this morning. And this was yesterday, by the way. And I'm like, well, I need milk. So you're probably going to walk down the gas station down here to get the cigarettes. So, since I'm giving you the cigarettes, here's what we'll do. Because all I got is 20s. Is I'll give you 20, and you get your cigarettes, and then you carry back that jug of milk, and that'll earn your cigarettes. Then you can owe me $10, and we'll be cool. He goes, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So he's unemployed, and it's killing him. He's a worker, but he's got the bad back and can't do a whole lot. Well, he just happens to run into this dude that works in like landscaping, like forestry type stuff. But he's like, I had to go get this jug of milk. They didn't have any at the gas station. He comes back and he's all like pepped up and stuff. He's like, I had to get this at this other store. And I'm like, I don't know if they have them elsewhere, but they're called Save-A-Lots. And I'm like, well, that's cool. It doesn't matter. And he goes, it does matter. And he told me. And I said, well, tell me the story. I was like, put the milk in the empty refrigerator and tell me your story. And he's like, yeah, I run into this dude and I got a job. And he said, it's like $15 under the table. He gave me his card and everything. He seen that I had this hat on. He's like, I worked for that company before too. And we struck up a conversation. He's like, what do you do? And he's like, I used to chop down trees and do forestry and landscaping type stuff. And he goes, that's the same business I'm in. He's like, I got a bunch of freaking meth heads working for me right now. I want to get rid of all of them. It's like, I'll hire you and give you $15 under the table. And this guy don't. Obviously, if he's walking with a bad back all the way to my house to get $5 in cigarettes, dude ain't got no money. So like he was over the moon with it. I hope it works out for him. He says some weird stuff and all, but he's been square dealing with me so far. But that was like, oh, that's. I said, well, sometimes the universe smiles on you, meaning you. I don't know. It don't smile on me too often, but I was like, hey, you just got a job, $15 under the table, and this depressed area that we live in, that's pretty good money. And he said, well, it'll be part time. And I was like, well, what are you gonna do with your bad back? And he said, well, everything's like they have shredders, and he said, I'll be a rope man. And me not being ever done that kind of work seriously, I'm like, I just pieced it together that you have a guy go up the tree, and you're pulling down limbs with a rope. He's like, so I kind of I asked him if that's what that meant. He's like, yeah, because I chopped down trees before, but it was a whole different type of thing, you know. So yeah, so that happened. That was interesting. All right. Well, this is like my third try at a succinct goodbye. I just want to be Gabby again because not only is that my nature, but I woke up feeling miserable. It's 9:38 in the evening right now, and my so like 15 hours ago is when I was walking around in the cold and in the dark. Then I came home and I made my sweatshirt video, and then I just like I was trying to edit it and it was taking too long and I wasn't even sure it was working. So I'm like, I'm just gonna truncate it. I'm just gonna cut the whole last half it off rather than try to edit out the parts where I talked out of school. If I, it's like there's parts where I said things that don't belong on the internet, as far as I'm concerned. And so, anyways, I just wanted to say two things, and that's um, one of them I think is actually semi-profound for somebody of a slightly above intellect such as myself, which is the human nervous system is wired to notice difference. So that's what makes the benzo experience of withdrawal rough. And now this is a year and 1 day since I started trying to get off of benzos and been withdrawing and worrying about doses and all that crap. So yesterday was the year anniversary of it. So the thing about it is like it's such a discouraging experience, not only because it plays such a huge role on your like mind, and you get anxiety and spontaneous thoughts that are not good for you and stuff. It's like it's not a steady acceleration towards some point in the distance with a big sign that says better wellness. It's climbing a mountain. It looks like one of them graphs. And you have your good day, and then you have your bad day, and then you have your good day, and then you have your bad day. But while you're having your bad days, you're like, you feel like you're reverting back. You're like not making progress or whatever. But really, what's happening is you're climbing that wellness sign. It's not off in the distance on a plane, it's up at the top of a mountain. And you're climbing this mountain, and you're having your good days and your upswings, and then you have your bad days, and then you have your good days, then you have your bad days. But because your nervous system is wired to notice a difference, that's all you notice is the difference. You don't notice that, like, hey, my bad days are not as bad as they used to be. And you're actually you're climbing a mountain, and that wellness sign is at the top of the mountain. So you're just going like this, but you're steadily moving upward, and you're steadily getting better. And you know, uh, that I like that image and I like that thought, you know. Like the flag is already up there planted for you of wellness. You just have to make that climb, and you know, it's a tough climb. So I've had a lot of extra stuff, of course. Anybody that's listening to this knows this, piled on top of it with added difficulty. But I also like this. Um, People don't go through hell with this. They go through Tartarus. If you know anything about Greek mythology, Tartarus is below hell or Hades. It's you know, so my experience, I still consider it, even with all the difficulties I have and having to live in this ruined body and stuff, I still consider it like, um, say middle of the road is 50%, I can still consider it like maybe 20% worse than a middle of the road experience, um, with benzo withdrawal, um, because could have been much worse for me. I just had a lot of extra stuff piled on top of it. And but yeah, keep that image in your head, man. That's just, you know, when you have the good days and you have the bad days and stuff, it's kind of hard because it takes so long. It's kind of hard to realize that you're just climbing upward the whole time. And you're just moving upward. That flag up at the top of the mountain that says wellness, you're going to be able to grab that one day. It just takes a long time, and because you're a human being, and because of the nature of the illness or the damage or whatever you want to call it to your mind, that it works on you. You know, times like this, like where I don't feel good, I feel anxious and I feel awful. You know, um, you start thinking, you can start thinking like, well, I'm reverting to where, you know, I'm going backwards, but you're not going backwards. You're just a human being, a frail human being like myself, and but you're just climbing that mountain with the ups and downs. But you're steadily moving toward a point where you're getting better. It's just it because it takes so long. It's hard to think of it that way. But anyways, I felt like I owed you a goodbye if you sat through the other video, and I'm sorry I had to cut it in half, but I was just getting tired of the video edit. It seemed like it was frozen or something, so I just put it in Movavi and just cut off the whole end of it, and then I'm tacking on this goodbye with this pleasant wave. Can't manage a smile for you. That would be genuine right now, but I can manage. But I did manage a kind word, I thought, and that's a lot better than a lot of people can that feel like this. So I'll be talking to you soon. Goodbye.